High Performance Energy. Mastering Focus, Motivation, and Mental Stamina, written by Ronnie Rowland. Published by Growth Literacy Lounge. Don't wait until you feel like it. Take action now. Motivation comes from doing. Mel Robbins. You're not lazy, you're not unmotivated, and you're definitely not broken. You're just running on a system that was never designed for how your life actually works today. Let's be real, this world pulls at you from every angle. Notifications, deadlines, distractions, mental clutter, emotional noise. You want to focus, but your brain is already juggling 5 things before your coffee cools. You want to feel motivated, but the spark just isn't there when you need it. You want to be consistent, sharp, fully alive, but instead you feel stuck in cycles of fatigue, frustration, or just plain overwhelm. I get it. Because I've lived it. And I wrote this book for one reason: to help you take back control. High performance energy isn't about pushing harder or sleeping less. It's not about some morning routine of the elite or drinking your body weight in green smoothies. It's about mastering your internal operating system, your focus, your motivation, your mental stamina, so they work for you instead of against you. This isn't a pep talk, it's a blueprint. You're going to learn how to train your focus like a muscle, build motivation like a system, and fuel your mind so you can show up, not just once in a while, but every day, with clarity, drive, and follow through. This book is designed to be read quickly and acted on immediately. Each chapter gives you a single powerful idea, a story to ground it, and an action step to make it real. Because theory doesn't change your life. Application does. And we're going to keep it real the whole way through. No fluff. No guru speak. Just a direct conversation between you and me, built on the belief that you don't need more hype, you need a method. So let's start fresh. You're not here to survive the day. You're here to show up fully. To lead. To build. To thrive. And that starts right now. Let's unlock the energy that's already inside you. Chapter 1. Burnout isn't a badge, it's a warning sign. We've glamorized burnout. Somewhere along the way, being constantly drained became a status symbol. You hear it in conversations that sound like competitions: who slept the least, who worked through the weekend, who hasn't taken a real vacation in years. We wear exhaustion like armor, like proof that we're serious, committed, going places. But here's the truth: burnout isn't a badge of honor, it's your body throwing a red flag. And if we keep ignoring it, we don't just slow down, we crash. I know because I've been there. There was a season when I thought pushing harder was the answer to everything. Wake up at 4 a.m., grind until midnight, repeat. No breaks, no stillness, no breathing room. From the outside, I looked disciplined, driven, maybe even impressive. But inside, I was unraveling. My mind felt foggy, my motivation came in short bursts, and simple tasks started to feel like mountains. It wasn't that I didn't care anymore, it was that I had nothing left to give. Burnout doesn't show up with fireworks. It creeps in, slowly numbing your clarity and draining your drive until you feel like a stranger to your own ambition. We think of energy like an infinite resource. It's not. It's more like a battery: use it wisely, and it lasts. Drain it recklessly, and even the best intentions fall flat. High performers don't ignore burnout, they outsmart it. And that begins with a mindset shift. Recovery isn't weakness, it's strategy. Mental stamina isn't about going longer than everyone else. It's about knowing how to stay sharp over the long haul. The difference between a sprinter and a marathoner is rhythm. You don't win by sprinting the whole race. You win by knowing when to push and when to pull back. So if you've been feeling scattered, unmotivated, or just plain tired lately, it's not because you're lazy or broken. It's because your systems are out of sync, and the good news? Systems can be fixed. Start by asking yourself this: what's draining you right now that you've been pretending is just part of the grind? Is it the constant notifications? The skipped lunches? The endless mental tabs you keep open trying to remember everything? These might seem small, but energy leaks don't need to be dramatic to be dangerous. They just need to be consistent. We need to flip the script. High-performance energy isn't about doing more, it's about doing what matters, with energy that lasts. That means making space for reset rituals. That might look like a 15-minute walk with no phone, or closing your eyes and breathing deeply between calls, or going to bed without guilt when your body says enough. These aren't luxuries, they're fuel. You wouldn't let your phone run on 2% all day and expect peak performance. Why treat your brain any differently? What if we stopped chasing burnout as proof of ambition and started chasing sustainability as proof of wisdom? What if energy management became the metric for success, not how tired we are, but how present we are? This chapter isn't about shaming you for burning out. It's about helping you recognize that your energy is sacred, that focus, motivation, and stamina are not gifts, they're built. And if you're willing to shift how you think about energy, everything changes. This book will give you the tools. But first, we start here by retiring burnout as a badge and recognizing it for what it truly is, a warning sign we're finally ready to listen to. Key lessons from this chapter. Burnout isn't strength, it's a signal. Energy is a battery, not a bottomless well. Recovery is not a reward, it's a requirement. Action step. Take an energy inventory tonight. List 3 things that are draining you daily, and choose one you can eliminate or adjust starting tomorrow. Chapter 2. The Lie of Endless Motivation. Let's get something straight, no one feels motivated all the time. Not the athletes, not the CEOs, not the productivity gurus with their perfect morning routines. The idea that high performers wake up every day buzzing with energy and drive is a myth. Motivation, as most people understand it, is unreliable. It's emotional, and if we depend on it to take action, we're already behind. Here's the lie: when I feel motivated, then I'll start. But motivation isn't a prerequisite. It's a result. It shows up after you take the first step, not before. Think about the last time you didn't want to go to the gym, but you went anyway. 10 minutes in, something shifted. Your body warmed up. Your mind caught up. You felt momentum. That wasn't magic. That was motion creating motivation. We've been taught to chase a feeling instead of building a system. That's the problem. We wait for some spark of internal fire to give us permission to begin, but the real pros, they don't wait for motivation, they create it. They've figured out how to generate energy on demand by aligning action with purpose and building momentum through consistency. That doesn't mean they're robots. It means they've built scaffolding around their goals, habits, routines, reminders of their why, so that when emotion is low, execution still happens. They've moved from a motivation model to a mechanics model, and that's what we're going to do too. It starts with clarity. Why does this thing you're working toward even matter? Not the surface level answer, but the one that hits you in the gut. The one that makes you sit up straighter. That's the root of sustainable drive. If your goals feel flat, they're probably disconnected from your deeper purpose. No purpose, no fuel. Then there's momentum. We've all felt the rush of checking something off a list. That little jolt? It's dopamine. Your brain loves progress. But here's the catch: it doesn't care how small the win is. You don't need to run 10 miles to feel accomplished. You just need to start. 5 minutes of focused effort. 1 cold call. 1 page written. That's the game. Tiny wins, repeated daily, create a rhythm, and that rhythm builds confidence. And confidence becomes self-generated motivation. There was a season when I couldn't seem to get anything done. I kept waiting to feel it, the creative energy, the drive, the push. But days turned into weeks, and nothing moved. Finally, out of frustration, I committed to writing for just 10 minutes a day. Not an hour, not a chapter, just 10 minutes. At first it felt like nothing. But after a few days I noticed something strange. I wanted to keep going. The action was rewiring my brain, not the other way around. So if you've been waiting for motivation to magically appear, stop. Instead, start with motion. Start with micro wins. Start with clarity. Ask yourself what this really means to you, and then move, even a little. Especially when you don't feel like it. That's where the shift happens. Motivation isn't a mystery. It's a mechanism. And once you understand that, you stop being a prisoner to your moods. You stop saying I just don't feel like it today, and you start saying I do it anyway, because I'm building something bigger than a feeling. That's the power you've had all along. We're not here to wait, we're here to generate, or to create, to build momentum through motion. Not once. but every single day. Key lessons from this chapter. Motivation follows action, not the other way around. Tiny wins generate momentum and dopamine. Clarity of purpose fuels sustainable drive. Action step. Pick one important task you've been avoiding. Set a timer for just 10 minutes. Start now, before you feel ready. Let motion lead the way. Chapter 3. Focus is your superpower. Focus isn't a nice to have, it's survival. In a world designed to distract you, the ability to lock in on what matters has become a competitive advantage. Not because you're smarter than everyone else, but because you've trained your mind to do what most people can't. Stay with a thought. Stay with a task. Stay with your goals when dopamine is begging you to scroll, swipe, and escape. We think of focus as something you either have or don't, like talent. But that's wrong. Focus is a skill, a muscle. And just like your body, your brain needs reps to get stronger. The problem is, we've trained it in the opposite direction. Every notification we check instantly, every tab we keep open, every time we switch from one task to another midstream, we're reinforcing distraction. Our attention span is shrinking, and we wonder why we can't get anything meaningful done. Let's be real. Deep work doesn't happen between text messages. You can't enter flow state while toggling between apps. And creativity? It doesn't thrive in chaos. It thrives in space, in stillness, in focus. That's where your best ideas live, not buried under alerts and background noise, but waiting on the other side of deliberate attention. There was a point when I found myself reading the same email 3 times just to process it. My mind was fried. Not from overwork, but from overswitching. I'd write a paragraph, check my inbox, open another tab, glance at my phone, come back to my writing, and forget what I was even trying to say. It wasn't laziness. It was fragmentation, and the cure wasn't more hours. It was more intention. So I made a rule: block time like it's sacred. One task, one focus, one window, no phone, no noise, just me and the work. I started with short bursts, 25 minutes using the Pomodoro technique. A timer, a goal, and 0 distractions. At first it felt awkward, like my brain didn't know how to stay put. But a week in, something clicked. My thoughts felt sharper. My work got deeper. I wasn't just more productive, I felt calm, clear, in control. Focus is more than a productivity hack. It's peace of mind. It's the difference between spinning your wheels and making real progress. And here's the part no one talks about. Focus feels good. Once you experience deep, uninterrupted work, even for a short time, you crave it. Because it reconnects you to your ability to create, to build, to think. You remember what your mind is capable of when it's not being hijacked every 5 seconds. But here's the catch. You can't rely on willpower to protect your focus. You need systems. Block out time on your calendar for high-focus tasks. Turn off notifications. Set physical boundaries. Close the door. Wear noise-canceling headphones. Leave your phone in another room. Do whatever it takes to guard your mental space. Because no one else will do it for you. Every time you choose focus, you're casting a vote for the kind of person you want to be. The kind who finishes what they start. The kind who values depth over noise. The kind who doesn't chase dopamine, but directs it. That's power. That's discipline. That's what makes focus a superpower in the modern world. So let's stop saying we're bad at focusing and start training it like it matters. Because it does. And once you reclaim that control, you'll wonder how you ever lived without it. Key lessons from this chapter. Focus is trainable, it's not a personality trait. Distraction isn't harmless, it weakens clarity and peace. Deep work creates calm, confidence, and real momentum. Action step. Block off one 25-minute focus session today. Pick one task. Eliminate all distractions. No phone, no tabs, no noise. Start small, but start now. Chapter 4. The energy audit: what's draining you. You don't need more time. You need more energy. And yet, most of us go through our day like a leaking battery, burning mental fuel on things that barely matter, then wondering why we feel so flat by 3 p.m. We try to squeeze more out of ourselves without ever asking the most important question: what's draining me in the first place? The truth is, we rarely stop to check. We power through stress like it's normal. We ignore the subtle tension in our shoulders, the clutter on our desks, the 47 open tabs in our browser. One tiny drain might not seem like much. But stack them together: emails you haven't answered, conversations you're avoiding, decisions you haven't made, and you've got a constant, low-level pull on your attention. It's like leaving apps running in the background of your mind. Eventually, they eat up all your bandwidth. We assume that physical activity burns the most energy, but it's mental clutter that silently exhausts us. Decision fatigue, overthinking, unfinished tasks, these aren't just annoying. They're draining your cognitive capacity, and you feel it. That foggy-headed, low-energy drag that makes even simple things feel hard. It's not just about sleep or food, it's about mental congestion. I learned this the hard way. I kept telling myself I just needed to work harder, get more disciplined. But no matter how early I woke up or how many lists I made, I still felt off, scattered, drained. Then I started tracking what was actually consuming my energy. Not just my time, but my focus, my attention, my emotion. The results were eye-opening. It wasn't the big stuff that was crushing me, it was the little things I thought I could ignore. A cluttered desktop, too many browser tabs, constant Slack pings, unclear boundaries around my work hours. I realized I was constantly switching mental lanes, trying to do deep work while keeping half an eye on everything else, and it was killing my flow. So I did what I now call an energy audit. I listed every recurring task, responsibility, and source of stress or distraction in my week. Then I rated each one, not by how important it was, but by how it made me feel. Energized? Neutral? Drained? That one exercise changed everything. Because it gave me clarity. It showed me what to eliminate, what to delegate, and what needed better systems. You can do the same. Take inventory of your energy leaks. Where are you saying yes when you mean no? Where are you tolerating clutter, noise, or obligations that no longer serve you? Where is your attention being pulled in 5 directions at once? The goal isn't to eliminate every source of stress, that's not realistic, but you can remove a few big drains. You can protect your energy like it matters. Because it does. Everything flows from there: your clarity, your creativity, your mood, your drive. It's time to stop thinking of energy as something that just happens to us and start treating it like something we manage with intention. The more you reduce what drains you, the more space you create for what fuels you. You don't need a new planner. You need space. You need clarity. And it starts with a simple question. What's costing me energy every day that I've been pretending doesn't matter? Don't guess. Audit. The answers are waiting for you. Key lessons from this chapter. Energy drains often hide in plain sight. Mental clutter is more exhausting than physical effort. An energy audit reveals what to eliminate, delegate, or redesign. Action step. Create your personal energy audit. List your top 10 recurring tasks or stressors. Label each as energizing, neutral, or draining. Choose one to reduce or eliminate this week. Chapter 5. How to reset your brain midday. You don't need more caffeine. You need a reset. We've been conditioned to push through, to hustle past the crash, to treat energy dips as weakness. But your brain isn't wired for non-stop output, it's wired for rhythm. And if you ignore those natural cycles, you don't become more productive, you become more depleted. The secret to high performance isn't about grinding harder. It's about knowing when to stop, reset, and come back sharper. Think about how your phone works. When it overheats, it slows down. It stops running certain apps. It gives you a warning. Your brain does the same thing, it just does it subtly. That mid-afternoon fog? That mental fatigue that turns even small tasks into heavy lifts. That's your brain telling you it's overloaded, not broken, not lazy. Just in need of a reset. We assume resets have to be long vacations, weekends off, spa days, but high performers build micro resets into their day. Strategic pauses that help them come back stronger instead of just pushing through at half capacity. You don't need hours, you need intention. I learned this during one of my busiest seasons. My calendar was packed, my mind was buzzing, and I kept trying to power through. But by 2 p.m., I felt like my brain was swimming in oatmeal. Focus was gone. Ideas felt flat. Even answering emails felt like climbing uphill. Then one day, out of sheer frustration, I closed my laptop, walked outside, and just breathed. 10 minutes. No phone, no agenda, just quiet. When I came back, it felt like someone had hit a reset button in my head. That 10-minute walk gave me more mental clarity than another hour staring at my screen ever could. That's the magic of a reset. It clears space. It restores presence. It gives your mind room to breathe so it can return to the work with fresh energy. And it doesn't have to be complicated. One of the most effective resets: controlled breathing. Try this: inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 4, exhale for 4, hold again for 4, repeat for 2 minutes. It's called box breathing, and it signals to your nervous system that you're safe, present, and no longer in overdrive. Movement is another powerful reset. A 5-minute stretch, a short walk around the block, a few jumping jacks or push-ups. Physical movement creates mental movement. It shakes you out of stagnation and reignites your focus. You don't need a gym, just space and a shift in posture. And then there's silence. Real silence. No music, no podcast, no notifications, just space to think, or not think. We live in a world of constant input, but creativity lives in the gaps. When you unplug, even briefly, you give your brain a chance to reconnect ideas, process information, and restore clarity. These resets aren't indulgent. They're strategic. They're what allow you to perform at a high level without crashing. And the best part? They're available anytime. You just have to give yourself permission. So here's the question: what does your midday reset look like? Is it breath work? A walk? A short nap? A quiet cup of tea with no phone in hand? Build it in like it matters. Because it does. These tiny rituals aren't slowing you down. They're refueling you for the second half of the day. Your brain isn't a machine. It's a rhythm. And the more you honor that rhythm, the more powerfully you perform. Stop pushing past the crash. Start resetting before it hits. Key lessons from this chapter. Your brain needs midday resets to stay sharp. Small, intentional pauses restore clarity and focus. Breath, movement, and silence are powerful reset tools. Action step. Choose one 10-minute reset ritual. Schedule it into your day tomorrow. Treat it like a non-negotiable meeting with your best self. Chapter 6. Build motivation like a machine. Motivation isn't magic. It's machinery. Most people treat it like weather, something they hope shows up when they need it. But the truth is, high performers don't wait to feel motivated. They build systems that generate it, over and over like clockwork. When you understand how motivation really works, you stop being at the mercy of your moods and start creating your own momentum. Let's start with the science. Your brain is wired to seek rewards. Every time you complete a task, your brain gets a little hit of dopamine, that feel-good chemical that says, yes, do that again. But it's not just about the reward itself, it's about the anticipation. When your brain knows a win is coming, it perks up. That's why tracking progress is so powerful. It creates a feedback loop. Win, reward, repeat. And the smaller the win, the faster the loop. That's where most people go wrong. They aim for the giant win, the finished project, the 6-figure launch, the perfect body, and ignore the small steps in between. But your brain needs quick wins to stay engaged. That's why breaking goals into micro-tasks is a game changer. One paragraph instead of a full chapter, one workout instead of a full transformation. When progress is visible, motivation becomes sustainable. I learned this when I hit a slump. I had a huge goal, but it felt overwhelming. I kept pushing it off, waiting for the right headspace. That headspace never came. So I did something different. I opened a notebook and wrote down the absolute smallest step I could take. Not the full strategy, just one move. I did it. Then I did another. By the end of the week, I had real progress. Not because I was more motivated, but because I stopped waiting and started moving. And each small win made me want to keep going. That's the secret most people miss. Motivation doesn't start with energy, it starts with motion. You move first. The feeling follows. Even if it's clunky. Even if it's only 5 minutes. Once you're in motion, your brain kicks in, you start to feel momentum. And suddenly, the thing you were dreading doesn't feel so heavy anymore. But to make that sustainable, you need structure, systems, routines that trigger action. Think of it like a motivational machine. a clear goal, a simple action step, and a visible reward. You don't need to rely on inspiration when your system already knows what to do. Morning routines, daily checklists, progress trackers. These aren't boring, they're brilliant. They take the pressure off your willpower and put it on your workflow. And underneath it all, the real fuel is purpose, not hype, not pressure, but deep alignment. Why does this goal matter to you? What will your life look like if you actually follow through? That's your internal engine. The stronger your why, the longer your drive lasts. Motivation that's built on vanity burns fast. Motivation built on meaning endures. So if you've been feeling stuck, stop asking how to get motivated. Ask how to get moving. Ask what your next micro win looks like. Ask how to make that progress visible. Then repeat. That's the machine. That's the magic. It's not loud or flashy, but it works, and it puts you back in control. You don't need to feel it to start. You need to start to feel it. Build the machine, let it run. Key lessons from this chapter. Motivation is generated through systems, not emotion. Small wins create dopamine-driven momentum. Purpose fuels sustainable drive. Structure keeps it going. Action step. Choose one big goal. Break it down into 3 micro wins. Complete the first one today. Then track it, make the progress visible. Chapter 7. Guard your attention like it's oxygen. Your attention is your most valuable resource, and the most underestimated. Everyone talks about time management, but time without attention is useless. You can block out 2 hours for deep work, but if your mind is fractured, it's just another chunk of wasted time. The real asset isn't how many hours you have, it's how clearly you can focus within them. And in today's world, your attention is under constant attack. Every app, every platform, every ping is engineered to hijack your brain, not by accident, by design. Companies are spending billions to keep you scrolling, tapping, checking. They don't want your money. Not at first. They want your focus, because if they can get that, the rest follows. And slowly, without realizing it, we've trained ourselves to live in a state of permanent partial focus, always distracted, rarely present, constantly pulled. If that feels like you, you're not broken. You're just unprotected. Your focus isn't weak, it's unguarded. And the solution isn't more grit. It's boundaries, systems. Environments that support attention instead of stealing it. High performers don't have superhuman focus. They have structure. They eliminate friction. They build spaces and habits that keep distractions out before they start. I learned this the hard way. There was a stretch where I couldn't finish anything. I'd sit down to work and somehow end up watching videos or reading news I didn't care about. At first, I blamed myself. Maybe I just didn't have the discipline. But then I took a closer look at my environment. My phone was always in reach. Notifications were popping up constantly. My browser had tabs from 5 different projects open at once. It wasn't a focus problem. It was a systems problem. So I built what I now call a focus fortress. It's not a perfect solution, but it changed everything. Before I start any important task, I shut down distractions like I'm locking a door. Phone on airplane mode. Tabs closed. Notifications silenced. A clean desk. A single task in front of me, and a time block with a clear end point. Suddenly, focus wasn't a battle, it was the default. Because I created an environment where it could breathe. You can do the same. You don't need to move to a cabin in the woods. You just need to be intentional. Build physical boundaries, turn off devices, shut a door, use noise-canceling headphones. Create digital boundaries, use website blockers, do not disturb settings, app timers. Most importantly, create mental boundaries. Decide ahead of time what you're working on and for how long. Don't leave it vague. Vague intentions invite distraction, clear focus repels it. And here's the truth. Focus feels amazing. When you actually lock in, when your mind gets quiet and your work gets deep, there's a sense of flow that nothing else can replace. It's not just productive, it's satisfying. It reminds you what your mind is capable of. But you can't stumble into that state. You have to make room for it. You have to protect it like it matters. Because it does. This chapter isn't about perfection. It's about design. Design your day, your space, your habits to support the work that matters most. Don't try to focus harder, focus smarter. Attention is oxygen. Guard it. Because when you learn how to direct it, everything changes. Your energy sharpens. Your results compound, and most of all, you feel fully present in your own life again. Key lessons from this chapter. Attention is more valuable than time, protect it accordingly. Distraction isn't about weakness, it's about poor systems. Environments that support focus lead to clarity, flow, and results. Action step. Build your focus fortress. Choose one block of time tomorrow. Eliminate all distractions before starting. Protect that window like it's sacred. Chapter 8. Energy systems, not willpower. Most people think they have a discipline problem when really, they have a systems problem. They assume high performers have endless willpower, that they wake up inspired and power through the day on sheer mental toughness. But the truth is, even the most driven people don't rely on willpower to win. They rely on systems, predictable, repeatable patterns that protect their energy and automate their performance. Willpower is a terrible long-term strategy. It's like a phone battery. It drains with every decision, every distraction, every delay. That's why you can start the day feeling strong and end up exhausted by 3 p.m., saying yes to things you didn't want, skipping the gym you promised yourself you'd go to, or zoning out in front of a screen instead of doing what matters. Your battery didn't fail, you just used it up. Systems, on the other hand, take the pressure off. They reduce decision fatigue by locking in habits, routines, and triggers that tell your brain what to do next, without needing a motivational speech every time. You don't have to think about brushing your teeth, you just do it. That's what we want for your energy routines: automation over deliberation, structure over stress. The first time I truly understood this, I was in a cycle of inconsistency. Some days I was on fire, focused, creative, disciplined. Other days I couldn't seem to get traction. I kept blaming myself. Then I looked closer and noticed the difference wasn't my mindset, it was my setup. On the good days I followed a routine. I woke up at the same time, ate clean, blocked off deep work time, and ended with a shutdown ritual. On the bad days, I winged it. I checked my phone first thing, skipped breakfast, and let the day come at me. The contrast was glaring. My energy wasn't random, it was responding to systems. That's when I built the 3R method: reset, refuel, repeat. It's simple, but it works. Reset means building intentional breaks into your day to protect mental stamina. Think 5-minute pauses, breath work, short walks, or meditation between meetings. These moments clear the cache in your mind and stop decision fatigue from piling up. Don't wait until you're drained. Schedule your resets like meetings with your future self. Refuel means feeding your body and brain what they need to stay sharp. That includes sleep, hydration, nutrition, and movement. Not perfect diets or intense workouts, just consistent, sustainable inputs. A glass of water before coffee. A stretch between calls, a meal with protein and greens. Small, consistent actions that keep your energy tank full. Repeat means making your best day your default day. If something works, turn it into a loop. Morning routines, evening wind downs, focused work blocks, recovery rituals. Automate as much as possible. Use timers, use reminders. Use environment design. Make your success system so easy to follow that you don't have to think, just follow the rhythm. Energy isn't a mystery, it's mechanics. When you stop relying on willpower and start building systems, you take back control. You stop waking up hoping today is a good day and start designing one. And the more you repeat your rhythm, the more natural it feels. That's when energy becomes predictable. That's when performance becomes automatic. You don't need to push harder. You need to build smarter. Let your systems carry what your willpower can't. Key lessons from this chapter. Willpower is a battery, systems are the charger. Energy rhythms beat random effort every time. Reset, refuel, repeat creates sustainable performance. Action step. Design your 3R energy system. Choose one reset, one refuel, and one repeatable routine to implement tomorrow. Lock it in and follow the rhythm. Chapter 9. The power of micro wins. Big goals are exciting, but they're also heavy. That's why most people get stuck. They look at the top of the mountain and forget that every summit is reached one small, deliberate step at a time. High performers don't just chase big wins, they engineer tiny ones. Micro wins, Small, manageable victories that create momentum and trick the brain into staying in motion. That's the secret: progress, not perfection. Your brain craves progress. Every time you complete something, even something small, you get a hit of dopamine. That chemical signal says, "Good job, do that again." It reinforces behavior. And the smaller the win, the more often you can repeat it. That repetition builds consistency. Consistency builds confidence. And confidence becomes your engine. The problem is, we've been trained to measure success in giant milestones: finish the book, launch the business, hit the goal weight. But between where you are now and that big outcome lies a long stretch of quiet effort. And without visible progress along the way, motivation fades. That's where micro wins change the game. They make progress visible. They give you something to celebrate today, not someday. I remember working with a client who wanted to write her first book. She had passion, ideas, talent, but she was frozen by the scale of it. 50,000 words felt impossible. So we shrank the target. Her only job was to write 200 words a day. That's it. No edits, no pressure. Just 200 words. Some days she wrote more. Some days she barely hit the target. But she kept going. 6 months later, the draft was done. Not because of massive creative sprints, but because of consistent micro wins. It's not just about productivity. Micro wins impact your psychology. They create a sense of control. When the big picture feels overwhelming, a tiny victory gives you proof that you're moving, that you're capable, that you're not stuck. And when life throws chaos your way, and it will, those wins keep you grounded. They remind you that progress is still possible, even in small doses. You can apply this to any area of life. Want to get fit? Don't start with an hour at the gym, start with 5 push-ups. Want to build focus? Start with 5 minutes of distraction-free work. Want to eat better? Start with one healthy swap today. Small doesn't mean insignificant. It means sustainable, and sustainability wins long-term. But there's one catch: you have to track it. What gets measured gets managed, and what gets celebrated gets repeated. So make your wins visible. Use a journal, a habit tracker, a whiteboard. Mark the days. Log the streak. Watch the progress grow, not for vanity, but for momentum. For proof, for fuel. There's a shift that happens when you start to see yourself as someone who wins daily, even in small ways. You stop waiting to become successful and start acting like someone who already is. You stop focusing on the finish line and start falling in love with the process. And ironically, that's what gets you to the finish line faster. Micro wins are the foundation of every major success story. They're not flashy, but they're powerful. Stack enough of them, and one day you'll look back and realize the mountain you were afraid of is now behind you. Progress isn't made in leaps. It's made in steps. Tiny, intentional, consistent steps. Key lessons from this chapter. Micro wins generate momentum and build confidence. Small progress is still progress, and more sustainable. Tracking and celebrating wins fuels motivation. Action step. Pick one big goal you're working toward. Break it down into micro wins. Complete one tiny step today. Track it. Celebrate it. Repeat tomorrow. Chapter 10. Train your brain for deep focus. You can't hack your way to deep focus. You train for it. Just like building muscle, developing your attention span takes repetition, structure, and recovery. The problem is, most people don't treat focus like a skill. They treat it like a mood. If they're in the right headspace, they focus. If they're distracted, they give up. But high performers train their brains to drop into deep focus on command, not by force, but by familiarity. Deep focus isn't the same as regular concentration. It's immersive. It's what athletes call flow state, where time disappears, distractions vanish, and you become fully absorbed in the task. This is where your best work lives, and your sharpest thinking. Your deepest creativity, but you don't stumble into flow. You create the conditions for it. Start by understanding your current capacity. Most people can only focus deeply for 60 to 90 minutes at a time. And that's okay. The goal isn't to go longer, it's to go deeper. That means removing friction, controlling inputs, and giving your brain a clear runway. Distractions are like potholes in the road to flow. One ping, One alert, one random thought you chase down a rabbit hole, and it's over. You're back at the surface, and getting back down takes time. I used to think I was just bad at focusing. But I was actually just bad at preparing to focus. I'd sit down to work with a dozen tabs open, my phone next to me, email notifications turned on. That's not a workspace, that's an obstacle course. No wonder my brain couldn't settle. So I changed the environment. One tab, one task. A clear intention. A timer, no phone. Within days, my depth improved, not by magic, but by design. Training your focus starts with blocking the time. Treat deep work like an appointment, not optional, not negotiable. If you were meeting with your most important client, you wouldn't answer texts mid-conversation. You wouldn't switch tasks every 5 minutes. That's how you need to treat your focus time, with respect, not just for the work, but for your own potential. Next, use a ramp-up ritual. Your brain needs a signal that it's time to drop in. This could be as simple as making tea, putting on instrumental music, or reviewing your top 3 priorities. These cues help your brain shift gears. Over time, they become triggers that prepare you to focus faster and deeper. The more consistent the ritual, the quicker the transition. Then, go in. No multitasking, no peeking, no jumping out for just a second to check something. Every exit from focus is a cost, a delay, a break in momentum. Think of it like diving underwater. Every time you surface, you have to go through the entire descent all over again. Stay under. Stay with the task. And finally, recover. Deep focus is intense. Give your brain a breather afterward. Walk, stretch, stare out a window. Let your mind reset before you dive back in. These recovery moments are what allow you to return to deep focus again later. Without them, your performance dips, not because you're lazy, but because your mind is saturated. You don't have to be naturally focused to master deep work, you just have to train for it. Build the habit, create the cues, respect the rhythm, do it enough times, and your brain will follow, not perfectly, not instantly, but reliably. Deep focus isn't a gift. It's a practice. And it's one of the most powerful practices you'll ever build. Key lessons from this chapter. Deep focus is trained, not gifted. Environment and ritual are essential for dropping in. Recovery after focus is critical to repeat performance. Action step. Schedule one deep work block tomorrow, at least 45 minutes. Clear distractions, set an intention, use a ritual, and recover after. Track how it feels. Chapter 11. Recovery is a high-performance skill. We celebrate effort. We glorify late nights, early mornings, stacked calendars, and jam-packed routines. What we rarely talk about is recovery. Not rest. Recovery. Intentional restoration of your physical and mental energy so you can perform again at your highest level. High performers don't just go hard, they recover hard, and the ones who don't, they burn out. Every time. We've been taught that stopping is lazy, that slowing down is weakness. But it's the opposite. Recovery is a discipline. It's not about checking out, it's about charging up. Think of an elite athlete. Their training isn't just sprints and lifts. It's sleep, hydration, massage, stretching, cold plunges. Not because they're soft, but because they're smart. They know the body doesn't get stronger during the workout, it gets stronger during the recovery that follows. Your brain works the same way. I had to learn this the hard way. I used to treat recovery as a reward I had to earn. I'd grind for weeks, then crash for a weekend, hoping it would fix everything. It didn't. Because recovery doesn't work retroactively. It's not a patch, it's a process. You have to build it in, not tack it on. And once I started doing that, once I treated recovery like training, everything changed. My focus improved. My creativity returned, my mood stabilized. I didn't lose my edge, I sharpened it. Start with sleep. You can't cheat it. You can delay it, ignore it, and mask the effects with caffeine, but it always catches up. Sleep is where your brain consolidates memory, clears waste, and resets emotional balance. It's the foundation of every other performance tool. If you're not getting at least 7 hours, consistently, your energy will always have a ceiling. No hack replaces it. Then there's movement. Not just workouts, movement, walking, stretching, yoga. A quick round of jumping jacks. Your body was built to move. When it doesn't, your energy gets stagnant. You don't have to hit the gym every day, but you do have to get your blood flowing. 10 minutes of movement can reset your state better than another coffee. Hydration and nutrition matter more than most people realize. Your brain is 75% water. Dehydration, even a little, impairs focus and decision making. Keep water near you. Make it automatic, and don't underestimate food. Processed junk drains you. Protein, healthy fats, greens, those feed your brain. Energy isn't just mental, it's chemical. Treat it that way. Then there's the mental side. Mindfulness, silence, solitude, time with no input. The world is loud. Your mind needs quiet. That might be a 10-minute walk without your phone, or journaling before bed, or simply sitting still and breathing. You don't have to be a monk, but you do have to be intentional. Mental noise burns energy. Mental stillness restores it. Recovery is not what you do after everything else is done. It's part of the plan. You don't wait until you're completely drained to reset. You build rhythms that keep you full. A weekly evening where you shut it all down, a daily moment to pause and reset. A monthly digital detox. These are not luxuries. They are leadership. You are your own power source. And every system you've learned in this book, focus, motivation, stamina, it all rests on this. If you don't recover, you can't sustain. It's that simple. The best don't just work harder, they recover smarter. That's how they stay sharp, present, and powerful. Key lessons from this chapter. Recovery is not a break from performance, it's part of it. Sleep, movement, hydration, and mental stillness are critical. Built-in recovery rituals prevent burnout and fuel resilience. Action step. Schedule one recovery ritual into the next 24 hours. Choose something simple, a walk, early bedtime, no phone hour, or quiet time. Make it intentional. Then protect it. Chapter 12. Become the energy source. You've made it to the end. But really, this is the beginning, because now you know, high-performance energy isn't a mystery. It's not a personality trait. It's not something you're born with or something you chase endlessly, hoping to feel inspired just long enough to get things done. It's a system. A practice. A rhythm you build and protect. And the more intentional you become, the more powerful you feel, not because you have more energy, but because you've taken control of where it goes. Most people live at the mercy of their environment. They react. They wait for the right mood, the right conditions, the right motivation. But you've seen what's possible when you flip that script. When you take ownership of your focus instead of surrendering it to distraction. When you generate motivation instead of waiting for it to show up. When you build stamina through small daily rituals instead of pushing until you crash. That's what becoming the energy source means. It means you stop depending on outside forces to get things moving. You create your own ignition. You don't just plug into someone else's momentum, you produce your own. Your focus fuels your clarity. Your habits fuel your motivation. Your recovery fuels your resilience. Every part of this system supports the others, and once it clicks, you become self-generating, self-powered, unstoppable. This doesn't mean you'll always feel amazing. You're human. You'll have off days. You'll lose momentum sometimes. You'll forget the systems or fall back into old habits. That's okay. The difference now is that you know how to come back. You know how to reset, how to realign, how to check in with yourself and ask, where is my energy leaking? What system needs a tune-up? What tiny win can I stack today? That kind of awareness is rare, and it's powerful. It's what separates people who stay stuck from people who keep rising. The goal isn't perfection. The goal is control, direction, intention. Knowing that no matter what life throws at you, you have the tools to recalibrate and move forward. So let's make this personal. What's your next step? Not in theory, in practice. Is it building your morning focus ritual? Reclaiming your evenings for recovery? Tracking your micro wins? Shutting down distractions during deep work blocks? Don't overthink it. Just choose one. One small, tangible action that keeps your system alive. Then repeat it tomorrow. And the next day. That's how real transformation happens. It's not loud. It's not dramatic. It's a quiet, consistent shift from reaction to intention. From burnout to alignment. From waiting for energy to becoming the source of it. You have everything you need now: the knowledge, the tools, the strategy, but most importantly, the perspective. You no longer have to chase energy like something that's always just out of reach. You build it, you own it, you lead with it. This book wasn't just about productivity. It wasn't just about energy hacks or morning routines, it was about power. The power to choose how you show up in your life, the power to master your inner systems, the power to feel clear, driven, and fully alive, not by accident, but by design. So here we are. One final moment. A deep breath. A clear decision. From this point forward, you don't wait for energy. You become it. Key lessons from this chapter. You are not at the mercy of motivation, you are the source. Your systems create self-generated clarity, drive, and stamina. Progress is built through consistent, intentional action. Action step. Write down your next move, one small shift you'll make this week to protect or amplify your energy. Then commit to it. No hype, just follow through. Take care and be well.